Good morning. This morning I find myself asking myself if I should engage in chemical warfare against the insects, the flies and the daddy longlegs and the flying insects that are coming into the hostel. And I ask myself, should I engage in chemical warfare against them? And this is a moral choice. And a lot of people don't realise that this is a moral choice. They just go out and buy this kind of shit and spray it in the air and engage in different kinds of warfare against nature, against this is against nature. They have as much a right to life as you do. And to think otherwise is an egotistical perspective, to think that you're the be all and end all. But they have as much of a right to life as you do. And to engage in whatever kind of warfare you do against them because you feel that this is my house, this is my property, this is mine to control. And it is yours to determine the nature of change. It is up to you to engage in whatever kind of warfare you like against them. You can swat them, you can keep the place fucking clean, and that'll significantly reduce the insects that come into your place. Like I remember I was working in one place in Turkey, and there used to be piss mires coming around the floor, and I used to be mopping. I used to mop the floor with the piss mires on it. I used to say, "This is the view from above. This is the view from above." I couldn't give one fuck about these piss mires. They're not allowed in here. They can't come in here, and I used to just terminate their life with absolutely no moral consequence at all. It absolutely didn't bother my conscience whatsoever. I didn't think twice about ending their life. And this is the view from above. But yet we have this valuation of a universal valuation of human life, which causes us a big disturbance when the same is done to us. But this is nature. This is dialectics. This is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Basically, the synthesis is a clean kitchen. I don't want these insects in my kitchen. I don't want these cats in my yard. So I have to negate this. I have to mitigate this. I have to say this is a threat. This is a threat to the construct that I'm trying to create. I don't want these insects building cobwebs and flying around the place because it make the place look like a kip. But I won't engage in chemical warfare against them because this is a moral choice. And that's what I'm trying to explain, that everything is choice. Everything is choice. You just have to realize that you have choice. And if you have an understanding of the natural world, a deeper understanding than what you think you have, because believe me, people don't have an understanding of the natural world. If you want to have an understanding of the natural world, have a look at the Vikings, because I'm a big believer in philosophy and art, and most people think that this is fiction, but I can tell you they're a lot closer to the truth than modern psychiatry or psychology. I can assure you that they're a lot closer to the truth. These pagans have a lot better understanding of the natural world. Now, in saying that, they could have questioned their choices, like in regard to the valuation of different things, but at the same time, we don't create the concepts. We don't create the concepts. For example, like I'm trying to explain to people recently, like we don't create the concept, like I said to myself, one thing I'm noticed when I'm watching this is the value that they put on gold and silver, the value they put in gold and silver. And I said, why should they put such a value on gold and silver? And the answer is we don't create the concepts, because the Egyptians put a value on gold and silver. The Chinese put a value on gold and silver. The Mayans, the Aztecs, they all put a value on gold and silver. And why gold and silver? Why gold and silver? Why didn't one say, no, we've no absolutely, do Thomas More on it and say, no, we can see no intrinsic value in gold and silver whatsoever. Now, I place no intrinsic value on gold and silver. It has an extrinsic value. It's only valuable in relation to what I can do with it, what I can use it for. And even at that, that's a push, because The only thing that gives it any value to me is the value that other people put in it, but it has absolutely no intrinsic value to me. Like, for example, like, why do I put a higher value on this than a gold necklace? I wouldn't wear a gold chain to not a, I wouldn't be caught dead in a gold chain, like, because. And I said to myself, why? Like, part of that is humility. Like, and one thing I've seen from the Vikings is, one, like, certain things resonate with you. This is where the philosophy comes from. Certain things resonate with you, and then you go off and you might smoke a fag, you might think about it. And I said to myself, like, in one, King Edward said to the grandson, humility is the greatest Christian virtue, and the greatest Christian value, humility. Now, it took me a long time and a lot of toilet cleaning to understand why humility is so important. But if you understood the human psyche or human nature in general, you'd understand the importance of humility. And humility, like it's really good strategy. It's strategy. Don't be humble for the sake of humility. It's like having money for the sake of having money, but you have to ask yourself, is what use is this humility to me? And let me tell you, like, you watch certain things, like, but I remember, like, watching a couple of drug dealers, for example, and once they got to power, they pulled in two big thrones and they threw a big party, and they more or less bigged themselves up and said, we are, you know what I mean, we are the dog's bollocks, but this will cause people to resent you and hate you and move against you. And this is why humility is very, very important. But at the same time as being humble, stay aware, stay awake. Like you learn to think differently. Like, the other day I spilled a drop of olive oil on my trousers, on my new trousers that I'm after buying to create the concept. To create the concept, and I spilled a drop of oil on the trousers, and I said to myself, Jesus Christ, I can't leave that there. And I overcompensated by I rubbed it with washing, and I put a patch on it. But I said to myself, why is this spot of oil bothering me? This spot of oil used to never bother me. I used to give a damn what other people think. But and I said to myself, is this sup of oil an insecurity? And I said to myself, no, it's not an insecurity, because really I couldn't care about this, how other people perceive this. But at the same time, what it is it's an awareness of the concept. An awareness of the concept. This spot of oil changes the concept. This little drop of oil changes the concept and impacts on the concept. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It impacts on the construct. It impacts on the concept. So what it actually is not an insecurity. It's an awareness of the concept. Maybe that's a little bit deep, but if you can just think about that, it's an awareness of the concept, which is very, very different from insecurity. And then you can apply this to everything. It's an awareness of the concept. And this, believe me, is a very different way of thinking. It's an awareness of the concept. But it's absolutely like insecurity causes anxiety. An awareness of the concept does not. You're focusing on what is within your control all the time. And when you focus on what is in your control, like, I had a conversation with a Jewish woman the other day, and I was saying about Jews loving money, and she says, yeah, she said her husband loves money, but she doesn't. And I was saying, yeah, but the thing is, we were just talking about different things, because you have to seek to understand. Like, I had a certain opinion of Jews, but I'm learning to that's changing now. Because you have to be very careful with your opinions and your how things are and how you think they are, the concept and the construct. But for example, like I said, the Jews love money and all the rest, but at the same time, the Jews use money very effectively and with great effect. And the thing is not to develop a resentiment. And I think this is where everybody else went wrong in relation to the Jews. They developed resentiment. Basically, they got jealous. They got jealous. But you could take a different stance and you could stand back and learn from them and learn from them. And they're very good in commerce and they're very good in controlling themselves and they're very good in controlling money and they're very good at negating the negation. Because they've learned from years of struggle and years of hardship. They've learned, and you should stand back and learn from them. And one thing I've learned from the Jews, and one I was talking to her the other day, and she said to me, I said, well, you have to really, you have to learn to control yourself. And she says, oh, well, she says, you have to, if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. And I says, yeah, that's true. And she says, yeah, if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. We know that a long time. We know that a long time. I says, yeah. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. And this is the truth. Every fucker will take it. Because I used to care about, I used to be able to stand back and control the money, but the emotions to a good extent, not to the extent that I can now, obviously after learning my stoicism, after being introduced to stoicism, but at the same time, I was always stoic by nature, but we won't go down that road. But anyway, I just want to say that now I've learned from the Jews and I'm learning commerce. I'm doing my bookkeeping because it's like your thoughts. I'm writing down every penny I spend. 3 lev on a protein shake, 10 lev on food in Kaufland, 4 lev on a bag of muesli, but I'm writing down everything because when you write it down, it's the same as journaling. It's like your thoughts. You get to think about them. And when you write down your thoughts, you get to think about your thinking. And when you write down your expenditure and your money, this is commerce. This is commerce. You get to think about your spending. You get to think about before I used not think enough about what I was spending my money on. I wasn't controlling the money. But now I'm writing down every expenditure and I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about, is that the best use of the money? And then that's where my soul comes in again, because I was very much like saying to myself, no, I won't buy the protein shake. I need to save up for a washing machine, or I need to buy this, I need to do repairs in the hostel. But my soul said, don't be a taker, be a Viking, but don't be a fool. Basically, the hostel is not mine, and you have to remember to think about yourself and your best. You have to take that 51 or 52%. You have to look after yourself first, because otherwise you'll find yourself with you can't. You have to think about the nature of the beast and the nature of nature. You know what I mean? You have to think about the nature of nature. You have to negate the negation. You have to look after yourself. Yeah, but you have to find balance in this. You have to find balance in this. But basically, like, the one thing that keeps coming into my head is what Nietzsche said: love is blind and friendship closes its eyes. And that's very important to remember. Very important to remember. Love is blind and friendship closes its eyes. So when everybody's going around pushing this concept of love, question the concept of love, and just remember, love is blind and friendship closes its eyes. Stand back and look at everything. Think about everything. You wouldn't be surprised, People say no free will, no free will. They don't think. They don't think. They don't think. They don't even know how to think. They don't even know where to start thinking. Good morning, Emeko.